So, the man who told us to sun our balls, eat raw cow nuts, and scream
"Liver is king"
into the void just challenged Joe Rogan to a fight, got arrested, and might actually be going to jail. Yep, that sentence is real, and yes, this is somehow still the same guy who used to say his only supplements were sunlight and Sol. At this point, the only thing ancestral about Liver King's lifestyle is the jail cell he might be calling home, because this isn't just a fall from grace. This is a testosterone-fueled, ego-driven, full-blown crash into public humiliation. So let's get into how exactly the primal prince of raw liver went on a full villain arc and completely destroyed his entire life. So firstly, what kicked this whole mess off? Well, Liver King, aka Brian Johnson, hopped on social media like he was starring in his own WWE intro and started threatening Joe Rogan. I'm not talking podcast beef, I mean literal threats. The man said he was driving to Austin to
choke that motherfucker out, lights out, I'm gonna choke him out,
because Joe disrespected his ancestral values or something.
Have you seen that bloke that eats the raw?
That's a gimmick, that guy.
It just looks ridiculous. He's got a plate of hearts and it just looks weird.
He's got an ass filled with steroids is what he's got.
He claimed this was for his family, his honor, and his ancestors. But let's be real, it sounded more like a guy who just snorted pre-workout with no plan other than going full berserk mode in a hotel bathrobe. And the wildest part, even though he wanted to fight Joe Rogan, he said he wasn't even going to train.
I already thought about my game plan. I don't have a plan. I'm not going to train. But I hope you've been training.
No sparring, no prep, just vibes and violence. As if Joe Rogan isn't a trained black belt who could fold this man into a primal protein pancake in 30 seconds. And as Liver King's threats escalated, so did his content. The internet basically sat back with popcorn as he posted daily unhinged videos that made less and less sense. He wasn't just ranting, he was straight up spiraling. He was saying stuff like,
"Because I have my family to fight for, and I'll die for them, you know that."
And talking about his limbs like they were ancient relics. His eyes looked wild, his speech was manic, and his energy screamed midlife crisis meets meth-fueled motivational speaker. And what about his poor kids? Imagine trying to do your homework while your dad is live streaming threats to choke out a UFC commentator. That's not a role model, that's a red flag with abs. Now, here's where it turns from cringe to concerning, because Liver King wasn't bluffing. He actually drove to Austin, and not to a gym or a studio. Nah, this primal warrior checked himself into the freaking Four Seasons like he was going on a spa retreat instead of prepping for felony charges. Because federal authorities got involved. The FBI and Austin police were alerted, and SWAT literally waited outside his hotel for hours, worried he might be armed and dangerous. Eventually, the cops came to get him, detectives secured a warrant and located him at the hotel. Officers approached him directly, placed him under arrest without incident, and transported him to Travis County Jail. But now, let's not dance around it. It seemed like Liver King was clearly on something. Like, not just the "I had 3 espressos" kind of high, more like I'm communicating with the spirit of Genghis Khan through my bloodstream levels of stimulant abuse. Multiple creators speculate amphetamines or worse, because his behavior wasn't just chaotic. It was erratic, dangerous, and completely delusional. Even Alex Jones, yes, that Alex Jones, claimed Liver King looked completely out of his mind when he got arrested. So when Alex Jones is telling you to chill out, bro, you've officially gone too far. But Joe Rogan wasn't the only person on his hit list. Liver King started lashing out at Derek from More Plates, More Dates, Johnny Bravo.
1, 2, 3,
No, not that one. And even Johnny's wife, who had nothing to do with the circus. So this wasn't beef anymore. This was a full-blown social media rampage, and instead of damage control, he was filming himself crying in a truck, wearing camo, thanking God, and looking like he just escaped from an underground prepper bunker. Now, we've seen how normal people handle drama, typically with a notes app apology, maybe a podcast tour, but Liver King, he went full UFC promo, minus the contract. And after the arrest, things only got worse. Word is Liver King wasn't just threatening people, there's speculation he also had illegal narcotics on him when he got picked up, although this has not been confirmed yet. But let's just rewind for a second. He drove across state lines, made public threats against a national media figure, potentially while high, with speculation of substance on him in a hotel. That's not a misunderstanding, that's a Netflix crime doc waiting to happen. So between the threats, the drugs, and the mental state, it's not looking good for him. And as of now, he's officially been charged with a Class B misdemeanor for making a terroristic threat, with bail set at $20,000, plus conditions including a mental health evaluation, no firearms, and no contact with Joe Rogan. So he's pretty much gone from raw liver to raw consequences, and things could only get worse for him. Because if we go back 2 months, Netflix decided to drop a documentary about Liver King. And oh man, if you thought his downfall was already bad, this was just the cherry on top of the protein shake. In the doc, he acts like he's the main character in a Marvel origin story. Shirtless, oiled up, screaming about
the 9 ancestral tenets,
like they're commandments from a caveman god. He says he built his body with sun, soil, and soul. Bro, you built that body with syringes and lies. Even after being exposed for spending $11,000 a month on steroids, he still pretended he was natural.
Do you think if I was on steroids, I would have these fucking appendages down here, these legs?
Have legs?
Do you see how fucking little my fucking legs are?
As if we all just collectively forgot the emails, the receipts, and the fact that he looks like a human action figure. And let's not forget the family. His wife, Queen Liver or whatever, literally encouraged him to keep lying. Told him not to admit anything, just keep smiling, keep eating the testicles, and hope the internet moves on. But it didn't.
And I'm here now to set the record straight. Yes, I've done steroids. And yes, I'm on steroids.
Then there's the kids. They look like they've seen things. There's a scene in the doc where they sprint towards a fresh bull carcass and slice it open like it's a Sunday brunch. But if your dad is feeding you raw organs for TikTok views, it might just be time to call grandma and ask if you can move in. Because what's really wild, even now after everything, Liver King is still pushing the brand. Still posting, still yelling,
Liver is king!
Still trying to get people to come to his retreat where you pay thousands to sleep on dirt and drink bone broth out of a horn. Like, dude, maybe now's the time to tone it back a little and take a break, because even his apology tour felt like a flex.
Because before social media, I was rich and anonymous. And after social media, I'm still rich, but no longer anonymous.
Bro, you look like you bench pressed a horse and then absorbed its DNA. Nobody believes that. So where does this leave him? His fan base is shrinking, his critics are growing, his brand is radioactive, and the entire internet, once laughing, is now just watching in horror. Because this isn't just funny anymore, it's actually sad. Liver King could have owned up, rebranded, and moved on. Instead, he doubled down on lies, beefed with Rogan, threatened creators, and quite literally got himself arrested. That's not alpha, that's unhinged. So yeah, Liver King just destroyed his entire life. He didn't just fumble the bag, he lit the bag on fire, filmed it, and uploaded it to TikTok with a side of raw spleen. So now he's not the face of ancestral living anymore, he's the poster boy for what happens when ego, fame, and delusion collide. And now, the only thing he's dominating is the holding cell dinner lineup. But let me know what you think. Is this just another PR stunt or a full meltdown? Either way, the Liver King's cooked, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.